Okay, so at the start of the NFL season, I gave my record predictions. I made a whole video about it. You can go check it out. I don't know why you would. Season's over, but yeah, you can go check that out. But in this video, I'm kind of just I was gonna compare how what I predicted and how the records actually ended up because I think I got a lot of those wrong, but I kind of just thought it'd be fun to see how my predictions turned out. So on the left here, you've got what my predictions were at the beginning of the season. Sorry it's small. I couldn't figure out how to make it bigger to fit this because I'm dumb. So yeah. And on the right, I this is how the team's records actually were. So it's bigger just because there's more sections, but I think you should be able to read this just fine. So on the left is what I predicted before the season, and on the right is how the records turned out. So let's just go. So let's start with my team, my favorite team, best team in the NFL, Bengals. I thought they would be a 14-15 win team this season. I'll be honest. I mean, they still dominated, but only 12. They went 12-4, as it says right here, because they lost the one game where they couldn't play the Bills. Still made it to the AFC Championship, but sadly, they did not get a 14-win season. I think this is the most wins a Bengals team has ever had in a season, though. So that's pretty good. Okay, on to the next. Might as well do a team that's in the same category as the Bengals. The Dallas Cowboys. They went 12-5 this year. I was predicting them to be a 10-13 win season, so I got that right. Got them over here. I was expecting them to be more on the 10-win side. That I think that's how I lined this up. But yeah, they got 12 wins somehow. One of those over the Bengals, which I don't get. But yeah, they got 12 wins, blew out the Bucks in the playoffs, and then kind of just collapsed in the divisional as the Cowboys do. So yeah, they had a good season. They did about where I thought they would, but yeah, not quite good enough as always. Um, let's do these ones next. Chargers 10-7. I was predicting a 6-9 season, so I was close. They got 10 wins. I never have faith in the Chargers. I never have. They're never good, and even when they are somewhat good, they don't do anything in the playoffs. They never do. Justin Herbert, I'm still convinced he's overrated. He's decent, but he's very overrated. Um, Joey Bosa is just crybaby. So every time something bad happens, complain, penalty. It's just yeah. They're not a great team. I don't know how they got 10 wins, but yeah, I was thinking they would get like 8 or 9 wins, but they ended up getting 10. So I was a little bit off, but yeah. So on to the next. Baltimore Ravens. I hate this team. They got 10-7. About again, same place I was kind of predicting. That's about where they finish almost every season in that 10-13 win category. They got 10 wins, 7 losses, knocked off the Bengals once. Yeah, it was the same thing as last year. Lamar got injured, and then they started dropping games, and then they made the playoffs. Unlike last year, at least they made the playoffs this year. But Tyler Huntley, who actually played okay, I don't think he deserved the Pro Bowl nod he got, but he played decent in the playoffs. Actually, that's a lie. What am I saying? He didn't play good in the playoffs. He played good decent in the regular season. In the playoffs, he tried. He was mostly just carried by his defense, but yeah. So they finished about where I was expecting, but yeah, not the best season for the Ravens. Next up, where do we go? Let's just keep going down. You got the New York Giants finished 9-7-1. I'm sorry, I got a little bit of cold, so if my voice sounds a little crappy, that's why. But the Giants 9-7-1 did a lot better than everyone predicted. I had them in the 3-5 range. I don't think anybody was expecting Brian Daboll to lift that team up as much as he did. He did. He did that really well. He was able to utilize Saquon. Saquon avoided injury this season. He finally got Daniel Jones over the hump, and he's playing great. He's playing great football. They found an elite wide receiver whose name I'm blanking on, but they either got a new wide receiver or a new tight end. I don't remember which position he plays. But they got a new one who's been playing decent. Their defense stepped up a lot. Yeah, I don't think anyone was expecting them to do that well. I had them going 3. I was really thinking more like 4 wins, but yeah, they had a really good season. Made it to the divisional where they lost 38-7 to the Eagles. So not the end result they probably wanted. I mean, every team wants to go to the Super Bowl, but that's a pretty good season compared to the past couple years. Brian Daboll really raised that team. So next up is another really surprising team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Doug Peterson, man, he went there and was like, you know what? Urban, you messed this team up a lot, but I'm just gonna go to the playoffs, okay? Yeah. Trevor, keep doing what you're doing. You're good. Everyone was questioning their free agency signings: Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram. But nah, they were amazing players. They just needed the right quarterback. But yeah, they came in, they dominated through the air. They started the season rough, but they were able to come back and win their division, going 9-8 on the season. I can't believe this. I had them going 1-2, 1 or 2, because I really like they. I didn't think their first round pick was amazing. I didn't think their picks were great. I knew they'd pull off a couple upsets, but I wasn't expecting them to go this well. Looking at all the superstars they have now, it's not surprising. But at the start of the season, I don't know if many people thought they would do as good as they did. So, hey, pretty good for them. uh, sorry. Up next, we got the Miami Dolphins. Where did I put them? I actually had them going. I was probably saying like 10, 11 wins because they got Tyreek Hill. They got some defensive players, Xavier Howard. Um, yeah, I had them going about close. Went 9-8 this year. Tua definitely stepped up. Not as much as I was expecting him to, but he did. Um, he's still playing good. Great quarterback. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill dominating that passing game. The offensive line wasn't amazing, which is probably why Tua got like a million concussions. I think if Tua doesn't have all those concussions and a couple of their other injuries don't happen, I think they're probably 13, 12 win team. But yeah, Teddy Bridgewater, Tua going down, leave to Skylar Thompson in the wild card. Yeah, no. But a really good season for them. Better than most people expected. I was expecting them to be good, but they underperformed a little, but it was still a pretty good season. Made the playoffs for the first time in a while. So, yeah, I over predicted. I thought they would do better, but yeah, still a good season. Um, what's next? Steelers. Okay, I was actually right about the Steelers. They went 9-8. I was probably thinking the 8 or 9 win range when I did that last video. Because I was still at that time I was still thinking they were rocking with Mitch Trubisky all season, but then they ended up going and drafting Kenny Pickett. Well, actually, they drafted Kenny Pickett by the time I did that last video, but I didn't think he would start, but he ended up starting for a majority of that season, and then they just took off 9-8. Mike Tomlin, never losing season as Steelers coach, crazy. But yeah, my prediction looks like it was pretty accurate. Had them going 6 to 9 wins, 8 or 9 range, and they got 9-8. So pretty good season for Steelers. Just barely missed the playoffs, but still. Yeah, the prediction was on point. Okay, next up, Seahawks. Can you blame me for this? I don't think a single person expected them to do this well. I mean, all they had was DK Metcalf and Rashad Penny at the beginning. No one had faith in Geno. No one had faith in their defensive in their DB core. No one had faith in their running backs to stay healthy. And to be fair, Rashad Penny did get injured, but then Kenneth Walker just out of nowhere comes a beast running back. Geno Smith pops off, wins a Pro Bowl, wins Comeback Player of the Year. Insane. Yeah, I don't really overperformed, going 9-8, making the playoffs where they lost to the 49ers. Played good first half of that game, then just collapsed. But still pretty good season. Yeah, I was way off with this one. Yeah, 1-2. Yeah, okay. Also, at that time, we didn't know Russ was gonna suck, so that trade was because we were all thinking they're crazy, which they aren't. So yeah. And last but not least, you got the 9-8 Lions. Oh boy. I got this one right. I had them going 6-9 wins. I thought they were gonna be good. I didn't think they were gonna be as close to a playoff team as they were. They barely missed the playoffs because of the Seahawks. But started season 1-6, then came back to finish 9-8, which is crazy. Yeah, I got this one accurate. I think when I was thinking this, I was probably thinking 6 or 7, maybe 8. But yeah, Aiden Hutchinson played great. Jared Goff definitely went back into being good player form. Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, all those players all popped off. It was crazy. So yeah, I think I got this prediction accurate. Had them at the end both times, but I think, um, yeah, I think that was pretty good. Had a decent season, good team. I think they're when I do my next prediction video for the next season, I think they'll definitely be in the 10-win range. But yeah, so on to where do we go? Let's do this. Let's do this one. 8-9, 8-1. Start with the Washington Commanders, who were only the commies. We're coming up to. I said the wrong thing. They were just the Washingtons coming up to the season, but then became the Commanders, aka the commies. So, but I had them going AA and what did I have them going? I had them going 3-5. Oh gosh, yeah. They didn't do a lot in the offseason. I mean, Carson Wentz, I really expected to drag that team down, which when he was playing, he kind of did. He's single-handedly the reason they missed the playoffs. But yeah, I had them going 3-5. They definitely outperformed, going 8-1. Taylor Heineke played great. They didn't have Chase Young for most of the season, which definitely hurt them, which is kind of why I was expecting them to suck. But they still went 8-1. Definitely had some flaws. Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson coming out as a great player. Brian Robinson gets shot and then becomes one of the better running backs. So yeah, I think my prediction was definitely off here, but I think this one was kind of hard to guess just because of how inconclusive. No, that's the wrong word. Crazy their team was. Yeah, yeah, that's the right word. I did it. Okay, next up, Buccaneers. 8-9. Oh gosh, I had them going 10-13 wins. I'm guessing I probably had them in that round. 11-12. 11 to 12 wins, I would have to guess, is probably how I had them. Yeah. Brady was bad. Everybody else was bad. Mike Evans could barely catch a ball. Still somehow had a 1,000-yard season, but yeah, it was not a great season for the Buccaneers. I mean, I was only 2 wins off, but like no one expected them to play that bad. So Brady's retired now, so they'll probably be a lot lower on the list again next year. But yeah, that prediction was way off. Oh man. Yeah, they went 10. They went 8-9, losing season. Yeah, kind of sucked. Packers. Let's do the Packers. Let's talk about the Packers. The Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers sucks. Like, I'm sorry, that was stupid. Like it was not a great season. No, not at all. Missed the playoffs. Ended the season with a loss to the Lions. Started the season with a loss to the Vikings. Yeah. Rodgers threw a lot of picks. Definitely was not in the running for MVP the third time in the row. Their defense was collapsing. Their receivers couldn't catch the ball until 3/4 of the way through the season. It just wasn't a good season for them. I will say, I got this right because looking at them before the season, they weren't that stacked, but I got this right. I had them going around the 6-9. I was thinking 8 or 9 wins, and yeah, they go 8-9. So yeah, I got this one right, which is nice, but it was, but I think the powerhouse that was the Green Bay Packers is gonna come down to earth. Has landed back on earth and will be bad for a little while. But we'll see what happens with Rodgers. If they end up keeping Love, I think they could be good. But yeah, got this one pretty much right. Last but not least, the New England Patriots. 8-9. I had them. I did not expect them to be good, but of course, I guess I probably didn't think about the fact that it's a Bill Belichick led team. So like, it's not really possible for them to ever be that bad. They went 8-9, missed the playoffs because they lost to the Bills in Week 18. Um, yeah, I wasn't. I don't know why. I didn't have that much faith in them. But Ramondre Stevenson, Matt Judon still ended up being good. Jacoby Myers kind of mid, but decent enough. We'll see what happens with their quarterback situation because they're either gonna they'll give Mac Jones one more year or they'll thrust Bailey Zappi into the starter. Or who knows? It's Bill Belichick. They might draft a quarterback. Or they'll draft a 7th-round quarterback and make him the starter. I don't know. But yeah. I messed this one up. I was a little short. I didn't have that much faith in them, but yeah. Not still had a decent season, but not good enough. Alrighty. Let's just blow through these right now. Raiders, everybody was expecting them to be um everyone expected them to pop off. Derek Carr just led his team to the playoffs. They got Devontae Adams, Max Crosby, Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow regressed. Darren Waller was injured majority of the season. Their defense kind of collapsed mostly. Their O-line collapsed. Everything was really just collapsed. And I don't know if that's just because they got cocky or if it's because of Josh McDaniels or what, but yeah, they were just bad. They went 6-11, I think was their record. I had them going 10-13. I thought they were gonna at least finish second in the division, but yeah, no, they ended up being pretty bad. Yeah, it wasn't a great season for the Raiders. Yeah, my prediction was definitely way off. They were one of the bottom teams in the league, and I had them being one of the top. Yeah, that wasn't a great prediction. Devontae Adams still had an amazing season. Josh Jacobs did too, but doesn't work when everybody else is bad. So we'll see what happens with them this offseason. Derek Carr leaving. Maybe they'll get Aaron Rodgers. Who knows? I don't know why they didn't fire Josh McDaniels, but yeah, so we'll just have to see what happens. That prediction was really bad. The Broncos. I don't think anybody thought they were going to be this bad. No one thought Russ was going to suck. No one thought Nathaniel Hackett was going to suck. No one thought everybody in the world would get injured. And no, you can't even blame that on injuries. They were just bad. I had them going 6-9 wins. I was thinking around the 8-9 win range. But yeah, they finished 5-12. I think it was either 5-12 or 6-11. I think it was 5-12. Yeah, they finished 5-12. That prediction was off, definitely. I had a feeling they wouldn't be as quick and amazing as everybody was thinking, but I don't think anyone expected them to be as bad as they did. So yeah, Broncos went 5-12, and I had them going like 9-8 or something. So yeah, that was a bad take. Mistakes were made. Okay, we got the Rams. I'm sorry, did anybody, and I mean anybody, think this would happen? The Rams, 5-12. The defending Super Bowl champions go 5-12. I had them going 14, 16 wins, but like, no, they were bad. They collapsed. I don't know what happened. I mean, they lost Von Miller and OBJ. They lost a couple players. A lot of people retired. A lot of people left, but they spent all their money, got the ring. Now they're back in to the depths of destruction. Like, I was really thinking they'd be a 14, 15 win team, but no, 5-12. Yeah, so I've had some bad predictions, but this is definitely the worst. Granted, I think a majority of people probably predicted that. I don't think anyone thought they would collapse this badly. So I think they'll be back in the playoffs in another year or two if Sean McVay is still the coach, depending on the quarterback. But yeah, Cooper Kupp getting injured and Stafford getting injured. a lot of that definitely helped in the collapse. So, yeah, bad prediction. Crappy Super Bowl champs. Bengals should have won that game. The Indianapolis Colts. I know there's probably plenty of people who thought Matt Ryan would play bad. And I kind of did. I kind of had that feeling. But, like, not this bad. 4-11-1. Wait, is that. No, 4-12-1. Sorry. They went 4-12-1. I was expecting them to be a 10-13 win team, honestly. They had Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, T.Y. Hilton, who was kind of mid, but yeah. um, Matt Ryan. Their defense was pretty good. I forget his name, but their offensive lineman who has been a superstar was really bad this year. Somehow still made a Pro Bowl, but yeah, I don't think anyone was thinking they'd be this bad because they were really bad. But yeah, yeah, they just kind of sucked. So my prediction was definitely a bit off. 6 wins short of being correct. So yeah, they were bad. I feel like I've said that a bunch, but they were. Okay, Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury happened. That was bad. That was a bad season. Going 4 and I think they were either 4-13. That math doesn't make sense. Well, yeah, 4-13, or they're either 4-13 or 5-12. One of those two. I don't remember. But yeah, I had them being a 10-win team. I really did. I had a lot of teams being a 10-win team. I'm realizing. But yeah, they definitely underperformed a lot. I feel like it was kind of able to be seen coming just because of all the chaos in the offseason and trading. They traded for Marquise Brown, but he was injured for part of the season. D-Hop didn't come back to week 7 or week 8. Yeah, it wasn't a great season. Cliff Kingsbury didn't coach right. GM getting fired for supposed sexual stuff. I don't remember what it was. It was something dumb. But yeah, it was not a great season for them. Kyler's I feel like he's probably not going to be great when he comes back this next season. But yeah, way off in the predictions. So yeah, it sucks. Houston Texans. I feel like this one wasn't that bad of a take. They got, what did they end up with? 2 wins, 3 wins? Yeah, 3 wins because they're the second round, the second overall pick. Yeah, Texans. So this one was right. I didn't expect them to be good. I wanted them to be good, but they weren't. But at that, I didn't expect it. They did decent in the draft, but Davis Mills was still their quarterback. I predict them going 3 to 5 wins. They ended up getting 3, going 13-1, I think, is how that math works. But yeah, going 3-13-1 and just being bad. Davis Mills and Kyle Trask or something? I don't remember. Davis Mills and someone else kind of switched back and forth between quarterback, and it was bad. Yeah, not a great season. They did get Damian Pierce out of the draft, which will be amazing. And I think that defense was rolling by the end of the season. But hopefully their new coach could kind of make that team start being good again. But yeah, I think they'll be better next season. Probably 7 or 8 or 9 win team. But we'll just have to see what happens. And the Chicago Bears. I got this one right. They went 3 and a good old 14 losses. Man, that sucks. I got this one right. They were the worst team in the NFL, worst record. They're gonna get the #1 pick. Yeah, 3-5. I had them going 3-5 range. I was actually expecting the Giants to be worse, but surprisingly they weren't. They played better. But yeah, the Bears. There's not much to talk about. Everybody knows they were bad. Everybody knows they will be bad. They're not going to be great next season, even with all their draft picks. Probably managed to mess it up. Who knows if Justin Field will keep the same energy. But, yeah. Can't run forever. Once they figure out how to stop Fields from running, they're probably screwed. But, yeah. Crappy season, as I predicted. Crappy season all over. So, yeah. There you go. Bears. Still bad. Probably always will be bad. All right. What do we got left? Okay. 7 and 10. Mm. The Jets went 7 and 10. Kind of around where I was thinking. I was thinking they'd be a 7-6 win team. They started the season off really hot. At one point, they were. I don't think they ever got top of their division, but they were second in their division. And yeah, they just kind of collapsed. Zach Wilson was bad. Breece Hall got injured. Elijah Moore is a crybaby. Their rookies were good. Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson both won defensive and offensive rookie of the year, which is good. But I think they were a pretty good team. They still got 10 losses, which sucks. But yeah, I got this prediction right. I figured they would finish around this part, but yeah, we'll see if they are able to bounce back next year with a good quarterback. Okay, next up, the Tennessee Titans. Again, this is around where I had them. I mean, that's what happens when you trade one of the best wide receivers in the league. You trade A.J. Brown away. You draft Treylon Burks, who sucks basically all season. You've got a crappy Liberty quarterback. You've got Ryan Tannehill. You've got a practice squad guy, also at quarterback at times. You basically surround Derrick Henry with nothing, and this is what you get. You get a 7 and 10 team. When you don't give your good players good help, they're not going to be good. So it wasn't a good season. They somehow finished 7 and 10. No, they lost some bad games. They won some games decently, but it just wasn't a good season for them. Going from the 1 seed to 7 and 10, kind of where I had them. I was thinking they'd be a 9 or 8 win team, but yeah, they just kind of underperformed. They weren't good. It was just not a great season for the Titans. Sorry. Also they lost to the Bengals again, so that's awesome. Okay, Carolina Panthers. I did not. I expected them to be bad, but PJ Walker was good for a little bit, and then he went back to being the practice squad guy he was. They traded CMC, traded Robbie Anderson. Yeah, it wasn't a great season for the Panthers. They almost won their division, but then they couldn't win games in playoff time. Probably because they weren't used to being in games that they needed to win to be in the playoffs. But but yeah, go 7 and 10, almost win their division, just barely miss it. But yeah, I think it was a decent season for the Panthers because they've got a lot of draft picks. Their defense is getting better. They've got DJ Moore for a little while. I think give it a couple years, maybe even 2, they'll be good. I think they'll be a good team. But we'll just have to see what happens. Cleveland Browns. Yeah, no, there's not much I can say. You've got a sexual assault man as your quarterback, doesn't play till week 11. Probably shouldn't have kept him out all season because Jacoby Brissett was playing better in keeping your team in games. Deshaun Watson just sucked. I don't know how you do that bad with Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, who's probably going to leave because they screwed him over. Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Greedy Williams, yeah, Kareem Hunt, Cade York. Should I keep going? I can't think of his name, but one of the best offensive linemen in the league. I don't know how you do that bad with that many stars, but the Browns managed it. It doesn't surprise me. The Browns suck. Yeah, I think this was kind of predictable. The fact they even got 7 wins is crazy. I was thinking they'd get 6 because I've never had faith in the Browns. Never will. I don't think they'll ever be good. But yeah, not a great season for the Browns. It wasn't good. Finished 7 and 10. Yeah. Around where I was thinking. Okay, Atlanta Falcons. I will say, with Marcus Mariota at quarterback, they overperformed. I had them going 1 or 2 wins. They got 7, which was pretty good, which is pretty amazing. But yeah, they overperformed a little bit. Still sucked. They can't seem to figure out how to use Kyle Pitts. Traded away Calvin Ridley. I don't know why they can't use Kyle Pitts. I think if they get a decent quarterback, he'll actually get a touchdown. Cordero Patterson's aging. I think they've just wasted 2 of his best years. But yeah, we'll see what happens next season. This prediction was way off, which kind of sucks, but whatever. It was way off. Yeah, I mean they still sucked, so it wasn't totally off skill wise, but they still. But I didn't expect them to get as many wins as they did, so good for them. New Orleans Saints. That team is depressing. Jameson Winston was supposed to be good. He did not play that good. And then he got injured and was out, so they were rocking with Dalton, who actually did decent, kept them in the playoff race, but then just choked away a bunch of games, and then they lost. And now, yeah, 7-10. Alvin Kamara sucked. Michael Thomas was actually playing good until he got injured. That defense was just, yeah, it did not go well. That defense was supposed to be one of the top in the league, and then no one really does anything throughout the season. So, yeah. I had them being a 10, probably 11 or 12 win team. Because Jameis Winston was decent last season, but this season he didn't perform well. Their whole team didn't perform well. Chris Olave and a few of the people on their defensive line are some bright spots, but like, yeah, they definitely underperformed. So, sorry, Saints, but if you can't win without Sean Payton, you've got some issues. Okay, down to the final 5 teams. Let's start with the Minnesota Vikings. Man. They actually finished around where I was predicting, and now that I'm looking at it. I was thinking they'd be better just because Justin Jefferson. They got Zadarius Smith, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, Dalvin Cook, or Cousins. But their defensive core, all the people in the backfield, it did not do well this season. They got Patrick Peterson and some other guys, but they didn't play as well as everyone was hoping. They played well enough to keep them in games and somehow pull out 13 wins, which is crazy, but just not good enough to. They lost in the wild card to the Giants. So, but yeah, they finished around where I was predicting. I had them more going 11 or 10 wins, but they got 13, which is great. Good for them. But yeah, pretty decent team all year, but collapsed in the playoffs, kind of as expected. Okay, San Francisco 49ers. Boy, was that a team. Finishing 13-4 as well. That's kind of where I had them. I had them being like a 12, 13 win team. Just because Jimmy G, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Nick Bosa, their O-line. Yeah. And then they made it even better with CMC and all that. But, yeah, they started the season with Trey Lance, which I was hoping he'd be a superstar, but we still really don't know because he got injured 2 or 3 games into the season. And then Jimmy G carried that team for a while, and then he got injured. And then Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in last year's draft, leads that team to the NFC Championship, where he then gets injured, which sucks. But I think that's still a win of a season, just because of how well you did with 3 quarterbacks. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, my prediction was basically accurate. I was thinking more of a 12 or 13 win team, but yeah, we got 13-4. I'd say it's pretty good. And then Buffalo Bills, 13-3. Interesting. I had them being a 14 win team. They were really hyped last offseason. I was expecting them to be good, and they were good. They dominated the AFC, got the number 2 seed, and played pretty good up until the playoffs, where their defense just kind of stopped existing, and Josh Allen kind of stopped playing good. But yeah, they won their first match. They won the wild card against the Dolphins, and then just got whooped by the Bengals in the AFC divisional round. So, yeah, a lot of their cracks started to show when it got down to crunch time. As always, they can't seem to win the playoffs. It's just a Bills thing, I guess. But yeah, yeah. I had them going 14 to something, 14, 15, because I expected them to be really good. But they underperformed a little bit from what I thought, but they still had a decent season. We'll see what happens next season. I think they'll be a lot worse, depending on what they do in the draft and offseason. But, yeah. My prediction was a little bit off, but I think they were still decent. And then you've got the last two teams, the two teams that played in the Super Bowl. Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not a fan of Philly. And it's not because of the fans or the players. I just don't like Philly. I don't know why. There's just something about them I don't like. But yeah, I thought they'd be a decent team because they got a lot of weapons. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Their defense was stacked, and I was right. But they overperformed. They went like 8-0 before they dropped one loss to the Commanders, and then just kept on rolling. Yeah, make it all the way to the Super Bowl. But yeah, I had them being probably 10-11 win team, but they had a great season, 14-3. Any season you go 14-3 is a good season. I don't care what happens in the postseason. That's a great season. But yeah, 14-3, great team all year. I definitely could have put more faith in them if I tried, but I didn't, and that was a mistake. So my prediction was wrong. But yeah, 14-3, decent season, pretty good team. All right. And last but not least, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. Your Super Bowl champions. Kansas City Chiefs. I thought they'd be up there with the best. And they were. And then they won the Super Bowl. So this prediction wasn't wrong. I thought they'd be a 14-win team. That was my thoughts. And guess what? They were. They went 14-3. Dominated in the playoffs. And then just barely won the Super Bowl. Yeah, so this prediction is probably my most accurate prediction of the thing, because, I mean, the Chiefs are easy to predict. You know they're going to be good. Even everyone's thinking, oh, they're going to regress. They don't have Tyreek Hill. Bro, it's Patrick Mahomes. You ain't regressing at all. He could go out there and catch interceptions if he tried. But, yeah, this prediction was right, so I did pretty good. But take a look at this. See what you thought I got wrong. See what you thought I got right. Just give me your thoughts in the comments. It was fun to make at first, and it's fun to compare and see how wrong I was. But, yeah, hope you enjoyed. Sorry it's a little bit long, but hey, at least I uploaded. So, see ya! I'm fine.